Hey everyone, coming at you from a slightly different setup to usual. I guess some hot topics for round 8 this week is Kalen Ponga. Who do you sell for? Number 1, looking at my list here, is Reece Walsh. Then you've got Nickel Klukstad, Tom Tavoyevich as the number 2 and 3 trade-ins. I think Reece Walsh at 616k looks very good. And even though he's not going to be goal kicking, a really good run coming up, I think he's a nice pre-origin buy. So I think he would be my preferred, unless you don't already have Turbo. I'd be happy to go Turbo. But I think Reece Walsh is pretty solid. Nickel Klukstad is good too, but he does have a bye. Not a bye, but he does have a couple of tougher games coming up after the Titans this week and then the Knights. So Nickel Klukstad is the safer option with higher base. Reece Walsh, a bit more of an explosive pick, but 616k is a really good price. So I think I'm probably slightly leaning towards Walsh as the preferred option to trade in if you're a KP seller. I guess the next topic is probably what to do with the Raiders players. So I'm looking at Ethan Strange and Schiller as the third and fourth most traded out players. If I had to sell one of Schiller or Strange, I'd be selling Schiller, I think, first, even though Schiller has a slightly lower break even at 43. Strange does have that 5'8" centering dual, which I think could be handy. And I think we've seen more out of Strange so far this season in that he can maybe have some better scores. I'd be happy to wait a week for both of them as well, just to see how they go without Fogarty in the team. But I think fine to probably cash in Schiller. I'd probably be a bit more comfortable keeping Strange over him this week, but I think if he's the one that you need to sell to make money to get back Cleary this week, who I think is a great trade in this week, by the way, I think it's fine to move them on. I may likely move on someone like a Schiller. You've also got Smithies. I think Smithies I'd prefer as a long-term hold, though. I think just to try and get that round 13 cover, because I still think he's going to punch out some solid scores. The third kind of thing that I've picked up, I think, from TLT this week is the cheapie scene. So you've got a few cheapies crop up, like David Armstrong from the Knights. He seems to be a bit of a risk because it seems as though there's someone else who... go follow Barry Toohey. I'll try to find the tweet, but go follow Barry Toohey. He basically said there's another guy who's preferred in Newcastle who's only 1 to 2 weeks away from injury, or coming back from an injury. So I feel like Armstrong is going to be short-term. Chevy Stewart, look, he's been named again, but there is still some job security risks, I think, with him in a few weeks, so I don't love him. You've got Sasagi from the Raiders too, who's playing on the edge, currently listed at centre wing. He's probably currently the safest, but I guess when Elliot Whitehead comes back, he could also lose his spot. So, I'm looking at a downgrade this week to try free up money to get in Cleary. I'd probably say a gun to my head, thinking Chevy Stewart or Sasagi, but I'm not really loving the cheapies at the moment this week. So, still decisions to be made. A couple of other random thoughts on fullbacks for KP. Don't also overlook Pappenhausen, who does have the Rabbitohs this week and then the Titans next week. So I know he hasn't been killing it the last few weeks, but he still is someone that you could look to consider as well as maybe a bit of a pod. And then also, I really like the draw of the Cowboys after this week, after Penrith. He's got a really high break even, I think, of 150 plus against Penrith this week. So you don't ideally want to trade him in this week. So you could look to maybe go Ponga to, say, centre wing via some deals, and then maybe go get Drinkwater via that another centre wing next week, or you hold KP for a week. So if you don't love any of the fullbacks, I think Drinkwater from next week will be a very good replacement as well. So something else I think to consider as well. Don't forget Pappy and Drinky. I think from next week could be really good and really tempting again. Looking at captains and vice captains for this week, so that Warriors matchup really stands out for VCs. SJ, CNK, I think are really strong options. Maybe even a Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Kind of avoiding, I think, the Dragons game versus the Roosters. Melbourne Souths, you could maybe consider a VC Grant or Pappy, but we probably haven't seen enough from Grant, I think, yet to consider a VC or a C on him. Manly Parramatta, I currently do have VC on Turbo, because I just think playing at home at Four Pines, Parramatta don't look the best. They've got a rookie 5'8" in their team as well. They can concede points. I like the look of Turbo at home as a fullback, so he's my current VC. West Tigers Broncos, so again, Reece Walsh trade is in. You could maybe look to do a VC on him too. I'd probably lean to doing a VC on these fullbacks, because I think I'm looking at Cleary as a captain potentially against Cowboys, or you've got Hines against the Raiders. Without Braden Trindle, I think Hines could be back to his best as well. So I like Captain. I think the last bit of my story just cut off, but I quite like the look of a Captain Hines. Away to Raiders doesn't scream the easiest matchup on paper, but no Braden Trindle. We know Hines probably is going to perform better for SuperCoach without Trindle in the team. And I should have actually mentioned this as well, with Trindle currently being indefinitely stood down. We do have, I think it's Daniel Atkinson at the Sharks, who maybe is a downgrade. I think he's only available at fullback though, which is a bit annoying, bit hard to fit into the team. But yeah, he's potentially maybe an option to monitor in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I like captaincy Hines at the moment. Otherwise, VC on a great fullback. Like, there's a couple of really strong options this week in Walsh, CNK, Turbo. And then maybe you could just go captaincy on Cleary, but it is an away matchup. I think I'd probably slightly prefer Hines just based on what we've seen from the Raiders last week and what we know Hines is capable of when he's kind of the one running the show. So a few thoughts from me for round 8 TLT. I'll see what more I can produce for this week. If not, have a good rest of your night. One final thing I should mention, if you have not yet already joined the overall group league, please do join that if you are interested. That league will close before the end of round 13. Shout out to Swish, who are offering a few $100 vouchers to viewers of the channel. So what I'm doing is I'll be offering the first $100 voucher off Swish to whoever is the highest total point scorer by the end of round 9. So that's this week, and then next week still coming up. So do get joining. There'll be a few more of those dropping throughout the rest of the season, plus a few other goodies that I've got to give away as well. So yeah, get joining that link as well. That's something I was supposed to mention that I completely forgot. But yeah, do join that league if you haven't already. Now I'm officially going to say, see ya.